Hey everybody, DJ Porkchop hanging out with you tonight. I'm going to talk to you tonight a little bit about MRIs. And, oh, by the way, I have been gone a long time. Sorry about that, but I ain't a lot to talk about. But I had a lot of stuff going on. MRIs. Got my first set of MRIs ever since I got this implant, the spinal cord stimulator implant by Boston Scientific. I cannot comment, as always, that I say by any other brand of stimulator on the market. Don't take anything I say as face value when it comes to any other brand. I have no idea. Boston Scientific only, that I know. This has been my experience and my experience only. Nothing I ever say is to be taken as medical advice. Neither. Always consult a medical professional, all that good stuff. The little backstory: I got implanted. I had my trial in January or February of 2018. I was implanted in March of 18. Everything's been cool, but I've been having a lot of issues with my back and my neck, etc., ever since. And it came time for some new pictures. New doctors, new places, this, that, and it's just been a bear to get anything done. I'll save them stories for later at a more appropriate time. Anyway, finally, I got through the system and I was able to get some MRIs done. So here is exactly what I had to go through personally. Number one, I had to get a hold of Boston Scientific and find out. I knew right off the bat that I was MRI compliant, but I wanted to be 100% certain, because the old saying is measure twice, cut once. So I wanted to be absolutely certain. Whether you say the most informed patients, the best patient, they typically get the best of outcomes, usually, but whatever. So I called Boston Scientific, and I have never, ever had a bad experience with them folks on the phone. Not a one single time ever. So if you've never called Boston Scientific and you've ever had an issue with anything, I would call them. Don't be afraid to call them. My experience, I've never had one single issue with them on the phone, ever. They've been more than polite and courteous, and they go the extra mile always to help me out. Anytime somebody on the phone's never been able to help me, they've always put me up with the next person, which is typically an engineer on the phone, and things get sorted immediately. So anyway, carrying on. I called them and I talked to them and I wrote down my exact model number of the generator, and that's typically what the piece that looks like the pacemaker. We're all familiar with what those look like. Also, where mine was implanted, I wrote it down as well. I'm not sure why, but I did. The model number. And you need to know, if you have the leads and the paddle, exactly what model those are as well. That's very important information, that you get that information. Write it down. And also, too, there's a checklist online at Boston Scientific that you can go through to make sure that you're compliant as you're on the phone with them. And there's one part where it comes up to that says that you need to make sure that your leads aren't. I'm talking about leads now because I don't have a paddle. I don't know about paddles neither. I can only speak on behalf of the leads. I got the two leads on that I've been implanted with. So with these two leads, I had to write that information down. And then getting back to that checklist, it went through there and it said that I needed to make sure that my leads were not fractured. I thought, well, how am I going to do that? And I'll show you in one quick second. While I was on the phone with the lady at Boston Scientific, she told me to get the remote, and I did. And here's what mine looks like. Many of you may have one of these. What you do to find out if your leads are in good working condition, in good shape. And she said this is how you tell if you're fractured or not, too. Apparently, you don't have to have imaging to find out. Go to your main menu. Go to System Settings. Go down to Lead Check. And you'll see a little screen that looks like this. And everywhere there's a green check mark, your leads are good. If there's not a check mark there, you got an issue. And that would have stopped me dead in my tracks from getting an MRI from what the lady told me. But since I got all 16 green check marks, I'm good to go. So I passed that part of the little test on the checklist as well. So once I had all that information, I was good to go. And they want to know what anchors you have too. And that information I was unable to get because the doctor that implanted me, that's another story for another day too, but I no longer have access to him or his office. So now I have all this information in my hand, and the day the procedure comes up, I get to go in and get this MRI done. Once again, it's the first one ever since I've been implanted. I have not been officially been in an MRI machine now since 2017, I think. 2016 or 2017. I go to get this, and the lady told me how long it was going to take. Just to get the MRI done on my brain, she said that I had to have one done on my brain, I had to have one done on my lower back, and then I had to have one done on my cervical spine as well. She said the one typically that they scan people's brain, the MRI, takes them about 12 to 13 minutes. Almost 40 minutes it was going to take them because of the restrictions that were put in place on the... I don't understand. I guess the settings they have to put in the machine are so low or something that it stretches the time length out on the... something about it just takes a lot longer to do the test that way. So that kind of sucked really bad, if I'm being honest about it. But nonetheless, whenever I got there, they had to see my wallet card, which I forgot completely about, and it's a good thing I had it with me. Because when the lady called me on the phone to go over everything with me, she didn't tell me to have that wallet card. I have the phone app now that's got my doctor's name on it that implanted me, serial numbers, you name it. It's got everything. Everything. It's got everything Boston Scientific related to me on that phone app. Well, I'm sure y'all are familiar with it by now. She said, nope, that's not good enough. I got to have a copy of your card. And lucky with having it, I have it. But I didn't have my lead information. I forgot it. I left it at home. Don't ever do that, because if I'd went in there on a Saturday, she wouldn't have been able to get that lead information until Monday. I'd have had to reschedule my MRI. So don't forget your lead information. Scribble it down, have it laminated, keep it in your purse, keep it in your wallet, keep it somewhere, but do not lose your lead information. And if you have the phone app, your lead information will not be available on your phone. I've got my other phones here, so I'm unprepared for today's video. My apologies. So anyway, they get all that information gathered up and they program their computer for the MRI. Took them about 5 whole minutes to do, maybe 6. They called Boston Scientific, went up, reviewed everything with them. Boston Scientific was fantastic. Boston Scientific had to have me come in the room with the clinicians and verify that it was me in their office before they would give them any program settings, which I was a little surprised about, but that was really assuring that they did that to make sure that somebody else wasn't blah, 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 whatever. You get it. So now I'm really impressed with Boston Scientific for doing that. They came back out and they checked my remote control. If it was not 100% full charge, I was getting sent home. My hockey puck that was implanted in my left flank, it had to be 100% charged or I was getting sent home. Then what they wanted to do was watch me put it in MRI mode. This remote control If you see what happens right now, see I'm off. That's MRI mode on this remote control. There's no MRI mode. I told her, I said, this unit's old. It was state of the art when I got it. It's old now. That's MRI mode. She's like, no, they all got MRI mode. I said, no, I'm telling you, this is MRI mode. Let's go ahead and call Boston Scientific back. And she went through the remote, looked it up and this and that, and sure enough, she's like, you're right, no MRI mode. It's either on or off. So she made me turn it back on and then verified me turning it off. And then I hit it one more time to make sure it was off. Bingo bango, I got in the MRI machine. We rolled, got my brain done, not a problem. I had to come back and get my neck done. We did the C-spine. That one took, and that one took an extended period of time too. She said typically they can have that one done in 10 to 12 minutes. Now with this machine they have now, that one took almost a half an hour to get it done itself. So it's doubling the time. And by the way, I have an MRI montage. That's the one that I'm implanted with. For those who may not be familiar with me or my videos, the stimulator that I have. When I came back a week later to get the one on my lumbar spine done, I was literally in the MRI machine for well over an hour and 15 minutes. That's how long it took them to do my lumbar spine. The lady kept stopping. She would stop ever so briefly and ask me, was I okay? Because apparently my feet were just moving horribly bad. And she said it was getting worse and worse and worse. The pain was excruciatingly bad on my back. I don't do pain pills. I don't do nerve pills, muscle relaxers. I typically don't. I just put my big boy pants on and I just go for it, right? I'm here to tell you right now, if you're like me and you do that, my video is creeping up on 15 minutes, so I got to cut it short-ish. If you're like me and you put your big boy pants or your big girl pants on, you think you're going to rough that one out, and you got one of these older ones like I have, this montage, you better talk to them ahead of time and see what it's going to take, because if your back's as bad as mine, you're not going to want to lay there on that table for an hour and 15 minutes with nothing to help you out. I mean, even like a little ibuprofen 800 maybe or something and I even had my feet kicked up on a wedge and it hurt. But the process to get the MRIs was easy. It was real simple, easy. One quick, easy phone call to Boston Scientific, show them my card. They made me change clothes, no metal, obviously, and I had to go through a metal detector otherwise it wasn't going to get done. It's just like a metal detector that you walk through at Walmart or the Dollar General. If you walk through those, you can get an MRI done. You don't stand there and, I can't have no scanners, blah, blah. Don't be one of those. Don't be. There's no point in being that way. You walk through them every day of the week. You go to the grocery store or whatever store. Don't be one of those people. Stop. Right? Just stop. It's a little, yeah. So we're not getting on a roller coaster with them great big giant magnets. We're just walking through a little scanner to make sure our guts don't get ripped out, right? So anyway, that's all there was to that. C-spine, lumbar, and brain, 3 MRIs knocked out within a week, and hope to whoever I can hope to that I don't have to do that again for a long time, because it hurt like holy hell. Not the MRIs, but having to lay there. The pain was excruciatingly bad. If anybody has any questions about what I had to go through, who I had to call, Boston Scientific only. I don't know about any other brands. Feel free to hit me up in the comments, and while you're at it, go hit up my boy Tricky Ricky over there at Alabama's Finest. He's got all kinds of good things to say. He's living the life of the stimulator himself. Go holler at him. Check him out. Tell him DJ sent you. With that, I'm going to shut up. I'll catch you all later. See yous.